So we are getting into early July here, which means a lot of things. It means it's hot as heck. Last week was super hot, triple digits throughout Northern California, which it's not something that's abnormal for us for sure. But the first week of that is a little tough. But it also means one other thing that we all know about, and that's fire season. And this season, with the dry winter that we had, we're looking at a pretty, it could be a bad fire season.
We got to be ready for it. 2020 has given us a lot to dodge and bob and weave, if you will, and we got to be ready for the biggest and generally hardest season in Northern California.
Especially, you and I just watched the premiere of the campfire documentary from Ron Howard. That really puts into perspective everything that happened in 2018 and what we could potentially see. I know you and I both have friends that lost their homes in the car fire. And so we're getting into this time where it's unfortunately can become scary to live in Northern California in some sections. So I don't really want to get into specifics of the fires, but there have been fires this week. We're recording this on Tuesday. It will come out around Thursday or Friday. So I really don't want to get into the specifics because they might change dramatically, in which case I don't want to talk out of pocket. But there have been some fires in Butte County that have brought on evacuations and grew pretty quickly. This week was there was a fire warning basically from CAL FIRE and the National Weather Service with high winds and just dry climate. There's fires around Tahoe and the Tahoe National Forest. And a lot of these a lot of them are just created how fires get created, right? That, from whatever. It could be from a car. But a lot of the ones, especially in the Tahoe area, were from campfires. And we're approaching the 4th of July. And you might be listening to this podcast in your 4th of July weekend, whether you're traveling, you're on the road, whatever. We got to be careful, guys. We got to be careful. I have been hearing so many fireworks lately.
As have I, every night. I live right next to a 99-cent store that has a fireworks stand in the parking lot. So, and every night... And I hate hearing it because while I do love fireworks, I generally like the ones that are sanctioned and are safe. I know that these people, whoever they may be, that are lighting them in my neighborhood are doing it in an abandoned lot, which is completely full of dead, 4-foot tall
grass.
Weeds. So it's not safe.
And I from what I've heard, a lot, like it sounds to my ears, it sounds like these are illegal homemade fireworks. But so let's just get to the point here. Let's be smart because this weekend is going to see fire, weather ripe for fire. And
fireworks with people that may have had a couple drinks. Yeah. And, while we are okay with drinking, just be careful, make good decisions, understand that everything that you do can affect not just yourself, but other people, other families, other homes, the natural environment. We are very susceptible to fire. And as we saw with, insert the name of whatever fire you want in Northern California that was tremendously destructive. We want to try to limit that as much as possible.
Yeah, campfires as well. Just know that it's if you're camping this weekend, you probably aren't allowed to have a campfire where you're at. Bottom line, they are being banned all over the place. Any national forest, you can't have a campfire. A lot of the developed campsites you can, but there's a reason for that because these all it takes is one, ember. Is that the word ember?
Yeah.
Ember.
Yeah.
Okay. All it takes is one ember, and it can literally cost lives and property damage and just ruin a lot of things. It was terrible. I saw a lady on the side of the road, yesterday with a sign that said "lost everything in the campfire." That was last weekend. So...
Well, we're hypersensitive to it, but even you have a charcoal barbecue in your backyard, and I love using it because I don't have a barbecue at my house, and when I light it, I can potentially feel people getting a little anxious. Like, where's that smoke coming from? And it's even just a barbecue can cause some scare, and I even feel it, and it's affected me. And so we're all hypersensitive to it, but just make good decisions.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention that. Like I said, there's a fire right now in Butte County that's growing pretty rapidly, and I don't want to mention it right now because it could turn into something that is terrible. But I mean, we're in the early stages of fire season. Typically, these super massive fires don't happen till late July, August, September, maybe even October. But it is the beginning, and we have to start being careful. So just know that if you see people doing stuff they're not supposed to with fire, let them know that this ain't the place to do it. Northern California doesn't need any more wildfires, even though it's inevitable. Let's try to keep it to a minimum. So that's that. Hopefully these fires that we're seeing currently at the moment don't grow any further. We also have to talk about coronavirus because God knows we don't talk about it enough.
A continuing issue.
Yes. So we thought we were clear, right? We thought we certainly flattened the curve.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, okay, we can start allowing people to go out because they knew that there was going to be a surge. That was just they had to have known that. They just thought that the healthcare system would have been able to kind of manage it.
Well, I don't.
That turns out not to be the case.
I don't think they knew exactly how big of a surge we were looking at, especially because we didn't really know how the virus would do in the summer. A lot of people estimated that the virus might not do as well in the summer as it does in the winter. Turns out that's not the case whatsoever. So let's just go through here. And Butte County, 25 more cases this week, up to 168. Shasta County, 7 new cases, up to 112 total cases. There's like 400 new cases in Sacramento County over the last 2 days, making it more than 3,000 total.
Yeah, I texted you the other day that they had the record number, and we both live in Sacramento, and it's scary, And I don't want to get coronavirus, and I try to get stay home as much as possible.
They now say bars that have opened now have to close. El Dorado County, 20 new cases, up to 178 total. Many of those are in the Tahoe area for anyone thinking of traveling to Tahoe. 133 cases total in Humboldt County. About 9 of those are new this week. And Lassen County has an astounding 229 cases. So my question is, we saw Yosemite close its campgrounds because of this spike, right? They said they're still allowing, half the traffic in to do day visits, but a lot of people had their camping permits canceled because they just don't want people staying overnight in the park. Are we going to see that more? Are we going to see more parks maybe even closing again? Are we going to see more campsites closing again? What do you think?
If I were to guess, I'd say yes. I think that the spike is bad. They're already starting to reverse some things. You mentioned bars that don't serve food are now some of them are some areas they're mandatory being shut down, and some are just kind of voluntarily, I guess, if you will. But the spike was a much bigger spike than we anticipated. It's scary. I do think that there's going to be more closures. I hope it doesn't happen. We all need to get out. We all need to make money. We all need to work. Companies need to stay kind of financially in the black, if you will. But if I were to guess, I would say yes, there's going to be more closures.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that number for Lassen County, 229 cases. That's more than Shasta County. That's basically Shasta and Butte County almost combined, and Lassen's super rural.
Much smaller community.
Yeah, and so, and people are traveling up there to go to Lassen, although, the locals don't necessarily, talk to the people visiting quite a bit. I know that there's no facilities, there's no gas up in Lassen right now. There's nothing like that. But it's peak travel season, and I think a lot of people have plans for 4th of July, and that's your right to go, travel around if you want. But I just, it looks like we're trending to the exact spot we were in early March, where we lost all these things. And I supported opening back up because I knew the financial hardship that it was causing for a lot of people. But this thing might be worse than we thought, and we might have to revert back to a time where we were stuck in our homes again.
So I went to the doctor today. I had this appointment for this new doctor because now that I live in Sacramento, I wanted to establish a primary care doctor. I know it's getting a little personal, but it was originally scheduled for March 19th. It was postponed several times. Today I finally went and I met my new primary care physician. Basically what he had told me is that, you're a pretty healthy guy, and at your age, if you got coronavirus, you'd probably be okay. But he asked me, and this was a question that I haven't actually heard anyone ask. And he's like, did you get a flu shot this year? Or like, do you get flu shots? And I don't. So I said, no. He said, well, here's the deal. Like, I'm not telling you have to get a flu shot, but if you got coronavirus and you also got the flu, like, that is where somebody that is very healthy like you is where you run into those potential life-threatening conditions. And I hadn't heard that before. And,
yeah, I've never heard that.
And I don't get flu shots, but I was like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I'm okay with it. So he said, I was like, when does flu, like, isn't that a flu shot season? He said, yeah, put in your phone to call my office in September and come in, and your insurance will cover it. You can even go to like Rite Aid or some stores, pharmacies do it as well. But I thought that was something that I wanted to mention because I had not heard that before. It's not somebody that's healthy like me in the mid-30s who takes fairly decent care of themselves might not have the more life-threatening look at this coronavirus. But if you don't get a flu shot and you get both, that's when things can get really critical. So I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, I'm just curious what's going to open, what's going to close, and for the last couple of weeks, it's kind of felt normal again. Not totally, but you wear a mask, no big deal. But what are we going to see close back up again? I don't know. I know the spike is going to continue unless something happens. And are we going to see sweeping closures like we saw before? I don't know. But it's something we all need to be prepared for, and we will see, if these parks and these places that we've enjoyed them opening up so much are going to close again.